All right, here we are again between Sundays having a conversation that needs to be had. I have with me my lovely co-host, Maxine.
Hey, everyone.
And we have back with us again, Ashli.
Hey.
And who are you? Why are you here? Who let you in?
Oh. That's harsh.
This is my lovely wife. She is finally making an appearance here with us. Tell me your name.
Hi, my name is Sylvana. I am the wife of the host of this podcast, and it is not Maxine.
So we're here to have a conversation with y'all. I'm excited to have this conversation. The conversation is going to be based on community, relationships, friendships, the hard part of building those and maintaining those, and some of the fun parts, everything in between. So community, let's talk about it. Living between Sundays. All right, so community is something that is obviously needed, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think any of us can deny that we all need community of some sort. I'll say, as I was growing up, I was the type of kid, so I was homeschooled. A lot of you guys already know that. I was homeschooled, and so my family was like my first real community. We were all super tight-knit, and of course, like we went out. We weren't some of those weird homeschoolers. I'm gonna just say it.
Are you allowed yourself to say that you weren't weird?
I am. It's
okay.
It's like being black. You can say certain things that other people
yourself.
can't say.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, I can call homeschoolers weird. Y'all know who you are. But no, we weren't those kind of people. We went out in public. We did things and whatnot.
You played on the basketball team.
I did play on the basketball team, right? Like we did things. It was a lot of fun. But as I got older, I just realized my need for community was different than other people's need for community. And I can't wait to have this conversation with you because you're one of the people who's like exact opposite of me when it comes to that. And so are you. But like I realized I'm very much I'm here with you now kind of thing. And it's really like a few people, right? I am not the person that has 50 people that I keep in contact with all the time. And it's wild because I'm a lead pastor of a fairly large church. People would not guess that I'm an introvert, but I am. And I have two guys. I feel bad every time I talk about it. Two guys in my life. They were both in my wedding party, who I'm still really good friends with. But I don't talk to a ton. One, Jamin, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Tyler, if you're watching, I'm sorry. And we're always like apologizing to each other, especially me and Tyler. We're always like, oh man, we need to talk more. We need to schedule phone calls. We need to, get together whenever we can. My boy Jamin, he lives in Delaware, only a couple hours away. He knows it is so hard to get a hold of me because of my schedule. Literally the other day, he was like, hey, I'm on my way back from Georgia. I'm going to be passing through La Plata in a couple hours. I'm just going to drop by, get a hug, and then like that's it, right? And it's just, I'm one of those people that it sounds horrible and I don't mean it this way, but like out of sight, out of mind, right? Like if I'm not seeing you every day and all that, and it's no love lost. Literally when I pick up the phone, we pick up where we left off. Right. It's not like we're not friends anymore, not like we're not best friends anymore. It's just, my brain is kind of one track, what's like right in front of me. And so I met this woman here when I was like 16. A lot of you guys know we met when we were babies. And she is the exact opposite. So I'm going to open up this discussion to the floor because I would love to hear where you guys all came from, your view on community when you were younger versus now. Let's start with you, Ashli.
I actually think that it's interesting that you said that we're like complete opposites and like you're so introverted and I'm extroverted, but the same still applies for out of sight, out of mind. Like I just had a birthday a few days ago, turned 40.
Happy birthday.
And thank you. And a ton of people, 100-something people from my life over 40 years have, logged on and said, happy birthday. And one of them, hey, Brandy, she, I said, thank you. And she said, we got to get together. And I knew her from the time that I was working at Target, which was probably almost 20 years ago. And we were best friends. Every day we're eating lunch together. We're walking the floor together. We're hanging out outside of work. But then when I left, it was like, we barely talked, and then we fell off. And then there was another person that I would work with, and that's the person that's in front of you, and and it was just like, and that's how it has been for everywhere that I've worked, everywhere that I've been. Like, it's just like whoever is right there, because like you said, I'm busy. I have work. I have kids. I have my husband. I have like the friends that are actively there in front of me. So it's hard to maintain because I think, make friends so easily. It's hard to maintain 50 different friendships at one time when we're not seeing each other. We don't currently have the same things in common. Yeah. So it's hard. But if she called me today and said, oh my gosh, girl, I had a friend from literally elementary, middle school. She messaged me on Facebook. I have not spoken to her in probably 30 years, like a long time. And she was going through something and I'm like, send me the link. Like, I'm going to send you money for whatever it is. And like, you let me know, like, it's all love. There's no bad feelings or anything, but it's just hard to maintain relationships when you're not actively seeing everyone. But that is the part that I think that everybody really needs to pay attention to is you need to make the effort. I feel like a lot of people want people to reach out to them. Yeah. But you're not reaching out to other people to be in the circle. So it's like, well, none of my friends call me. Well, who have you called to initiate this? And I feel like that's the biggest thing is that if that's the community that you want, you have to make the effort. And there are times where I'll just do a random, if God puts somebody on my heart, I'm going to send a text message because I don't know do I need to pray for you? Do I need to help you in some way? Is there something that you need? Yeah. You know, like, or do you just need a friend to say, hey, and know that you're being thought about or whatever? But I think that it's so important to remember that both introverts and extroverts, like a lot of people, if you're not front of mind, life is still happening, and that's no love lost. It's no hate. It's no, like, I don't think any less of you or whatever, but if you want to reach out, text me. I will call you. I will text you. We can schedule lunch, whatever. And there will be times that you'll be late on my heart, and I'll reach out and we'll do lunch. I got a lunch on Friday. But I think it's just for the people that are lacking community, I think it's really important for you to understand and remember, if you want community, you have to be the community.
That's good. Max.
I was going to go to Sil because I want to hear this. You set this up.
And now we're all
like,
hanging on.
Not you.
I need to hear this. What is it?
Well, accurate. Okay, so he said he wants to save the best for last. Yeah, so it's funny. I have always, I think, found myself with like a squad kind of thing. Like even I remember, like I can remember like even preschool, and you know my grandfather always laughs because my first language is Spanish, and so I'm really learning English at school. Spanish is like where I'm comfortable, whatever. And so he would always laugh that he'd pick me up from school, and I'd have all my little friends around me, and everybody's speaking English, and I'm speaking in Spanish, even though whatever's happening. So I've always had like a little like grouping. I think that in elementary school, I remember I had like a group, like always part of a group. I think that was like, I don't know if it was important or intentional. It just was the way that it was, I think. And then as I got older, I don't know. I feel like maybe because I was an only child for so long, I was an only child until I was 16. I think my friends were like really important to me, like having good people around. And I will say, I feel like I've always known really good people. But I am also someone, I think I can get very intense, like close friendships for a season, because we're in the same space, we're around, blah, blah, blah. And then we move. But I am somebody who does pretty well at like keeping up with folks. So it might not be all the time, but I'm like, oh yeah, it's been a few months since I've heard from XYZ. Let me shoot a text. And I don't know if I'm an introvert or extrovert. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I like both. Like I need my own time.
Extroverted introvert. Like you can do it.
I can be.
But you're filling up really is by yourself. Or like your small group, your family.
Yes. I want all of the things. I want my alone time, and I want time with friends and like all that stuff.
See, okay.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wrestled with that for a while too, because I always thought I was introverted, right? And then I realized, especially when I jumped into ministry, they're like, oh, I really do love people. And like Sunday mornings, Saturday nights when we do services, I'm like all over it. Even before I got to this church, the last church I was at, I always loved serving, loved being there. But like you were saying, Ashli, my filling, my recharging was always by myself.
Yeah.
And then like like I said, I noticed that my need for community was different than other people's
Mhm.
because I think it was, you were saying that like a lot of people are like, oh, like why don't my friends call me? Why don't they? And like
You
that
don't
never
care.
crosses my mind.
He's like,
Yeah,
"No,
I'm
I'm good."
literally like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then when people
You
do
got
text
this one
me,
right here. He's like, that's all I need. That's
Exactly.
it. That's
That's
all I
enough
need.
talking for
When-
today.
when people do text me and like, hey, thinking about you, praying for you, whatever,
Oh,
I'm
great.
like, cool. People call me on the phone. Most times I'm like, okay, I'll answer this.
Yeah.
But I'm genuinely like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And so I wrestle with that, and I figured out I'm an extroverted introvert.
Yeah.
Where I can love on people and output and all that, but there comes a ceiling. There comes
Yep.
a point
Yeah.
where I'm like, okay, I gotta
I
get
love
some
y'all.
space.
I
Gotta
always
go.
used to say that I was like, I'm an extrovert for Jesus. So
I
like,
like that.
if I have a task at hand, so like while I was serving, my first like role that they had me serve at was like absolute worst because I'm not good at like breaking through like brand new spaces because I hate small talk. If I sit with you, I want to know your deepest, darkest secret immediately. And then I feel like I can trust you. Like we're fine, but I can only talk about your cat for so long. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to the cat people. But like, yeah. So like the first position they gave me was, it was like a connections team. So my job was to go up to people in our lobby or sitting down at service who were on their phone.
Oh wow,
Oh, man.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
that's fun.
I literally hated it
No.
so much.
No,
So my
thanks.
first like
Never
3
again.
weeks, I like showed up, but like I would hide somewhere because I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna go up to somebody on their phone. Like that's like they don't want to be bothered. But they're like, no, actually, people on their phone need the connection because they're somewhere that's a sign that they're uncomfortable where they're at because they're on their phone. They're not connecting with people. Eventually, I got around to like breaking through that, and then I found this like extroverted gear where I could sort of have those like
Switch
small
on.
talk things if I was serving, if I was like working at church and doing all that. There's like another gear that I can tap into.
Nice.
But I would prefer like the company of like this, and then we can have a deep conversation as opposed to like 30 people and where's the vibe. I don't want the like
Yeah.
club vibe and
Yeah.
a million people and I can't know anybody like that. However, for many years also, I am like a little bit of a chameleon, so I can kind of fit in with any group that I'm at. I'll be like fine. So I was also like, somebody would call me randomly like, hey, we're gonna go to XYZ. Hey, we're taking a plane to blah blah blah. You down? And I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Show up, no nobody except for the person that invited me. Totally fine. Like love everybody, make best friends. Kid you not, won't remember you in 2 years.
Wow.
Like won't remember you.
It was a great time.
In 2 years. And
Who
that,
were you?
Yeah, like that happened to me. We went to like Cuba with a bunch of friends, and this guy was talking to me, very friendly, just and like he knew stuff about my life, and I was getting really freaked out. I'm like, how do you know this, sir? Like he's talking to me like he knows me, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I'm like, and at a certain point I was just like, I'm sorry, but like how do you? And he's like, we've met before.
That's great.
Oh,
I was like,
no.
And he remembered all of the stuff about you, and you're like, I don't even remember ever seeing you.
He's like,
in
yeah, we
life.
like had a whole conversation. I was like, good to know.
We
I
did.
won't forget you now, but
my,
did
my
not
poor
remember you
boy
then.
For the
was-
wrong
he had
reason.
his mental notepad out. He was listening to things you were saying.
Yeah,
and you
so
were
nice.
listening
just-
with intention.
And I love him. He's like awesome. One of my friends now for sure, but certainly like did not have that memory. So I work really hard now to like, I think this is why I like having deep conversations because it sticks in my head better.
Mhm.
But
Agreed.
so much surface like stuff, like I'm not the person that's going to remember like your favorite food. I'm sorry. And like some people feel really offended by that, but I'm not, unless like there was a huge conversation we had around that
Right.
something, and then now I remember.
Well, good thing for you. I like all food.
Good.
So
Good.
if you just
Yeah.
remember.
I mean, that's the
Doesn't
better way to
matter.
make friends,
Right?
right?
Like whatever
all of the
food
things.
you would like to eat together or make for
Yeah.
me or go eat, like all food. I like
Yeah.
all food. Thanks.
That's great.
Well, I think having that underlying purpose helped you like kind of switch on to meet people
Yeah.
like within ministry,
Yeah.
because I have tried a few times out here to like make a new friend, and we get to sitting down and I feel like I'm just like jittery and weird because I'm
Yeah.
like I don't know how to start. I don't know
What do I- my
what do I
hands?
do?
What do I do with my hand?
What do I do? But
I
at
love
the
that everyone
end,
got that reference.
Yeah.
It was a particular friend that I had met for the first time, and we were like chatting, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm like so in my head, I'm being weird. And at the end of the get together, she was like, oh my gosh, you're so chill, like we should do this again. I was like, good, because I thought I was like,
I was stressed.
She was like, we're never doing this again. Oh, but yeah, just let it be weird, and then when you get past the weird, it's like, okay, we can relax.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tagging on to something you said about the whole chameleon thing, I've got some of that in me too. I remember people though. I remember conversations and
Listen,
all
I'm
that.
working on it, y'all. Don't come for
Shots
me.
fired.
Don't come for
Shots
me.
fired.
But my thing is, people say, hey, you want to go to the movies? Want to go to this event? Want to go to this theme park or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I'm down, whatever. And Syl knows this about me. And then I'll come back and it's like, how was it? I'm like, meh, like I go for the community to be able to like hang out with people and whatnot. But I'm good at home, right? Like it's one of those things where, and the things that do bring me joy are like the silliest, stupidest things. Like Sylvana asked me a few months ago, she was like, what would you, actually it was probably like 6 months ago. She's like, what would you want to do for your 30th birthday? Like it's a big deal.
I asked you what you were doing. I was cracking up.
Do you remember?
Yes.
I was like, I'm gonna get the exhaust put on my truck. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is fun to me. And it's something that I drive around every day and hear, like she was like, what would you like to do? Patrick asked me to. He's like, what are some things you want to do?
That's
like,
what I asked. What are you
know.
doing for your birthday? He's like, I'm getting my exhaust put on my car. Like,
It's
that's
a
what I'm
gift.
doing. And I'm like, but what are you doing? He's like,
That's it.
that's what
That's
I'm
the
doing.
event.
Pat was like, come on, man, like something to do. I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll shoot my gun for a couple hours. Maybe I'll like go throw an axe or something. And it's not that I'm this big macho man or anything. It's just like all of those things, driving in my truck, it's just me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm in my thoughts. I'm thinking, I'm praying, I'm whatever. If I'm shooting my gun, it's just me focused on this gun and hitting the target. If I'm throwing an axe, it's all these things that are just very, very introverted. That's just who I'll do all the things with people. Well, most of the things with people. There's sometimes I'm like, no, I just want to sit at home today. But Ashli has accused me quite a few times of doing that to her. Because in the first few years of working here,
I'm putting it on both of you.
Oh,
I'm putting it
boy.
on both of you now.
Ashli has invited me to her house so many times. I think the
Not
first
me,
time.
us.
See, I didn't know. He's like, let me not tell her, because then we have to go.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I told you before. You were pregnant at the time, though.
Okay, well, that's different.
I was
That's a
gonna say,
whole
at
new
least
story.
2 or 3 of them were pregnant, and I was like, okay, I
Yeah.
understand. He's like, she's exhausted.
I can't
Yes,
promise
okay.
anything.
And we don't live super close. We're easily like 45 minutes away. So
And
there's
back
that
then
too.
we were in Colonial Beach.
Yeah,
yeah.
it
so
a
that was like
solid
an hour and
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. But know that I love you, even though the first time I came to your house was because you were sick.
Literally, I had
Oh.
surgery. Surgery got him to my house. That's it. But
So the ministry switch was on.
yeah, that was it. That was
and
it.
He, could
He was
come.
the care pastor. He was not my friend. He was not gonna be my friend. He was the care pastor. But it's funny because I have invited y'all to my house probably 8 times.
Oh God.
And I have invited myself to their house many times. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna, and like I'll guilt him because I'll hear, oh yeah, we had dinner, Pat and Shan and their spouses, like they came over, and I was like, oh,
Cool.
hold on, let me check my phone real quick. No, I didn't get a text. I
Oh,
was making sure that I didn't miss the text.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, I'm gonna get you over. I was like, okay.
You're not the only one that does that.
Okay.
I posted a story a few weeks ago. So a friend of mine was getting rid of a barbecue grill, a fairly nice barbecue grill. He was like, yeah, we only use it like one time.
What other kind of grill?
Huh?
Barbecue grill?
Yeah.
What other kind of grill?
I mean, there's like the
Gas
Blackstone flat
grills.
top.
Yeah.
It's not a barbecue grill. The flat top Blackstone.
That's the flat top. That's not a grill. Anyway, I'm
It is a
sorry.
grill.
I'm being a difficult friend.
Anyway.
Barbecue grill.
Anyway, he was like, we only use it like once, not really interested, whatever. So I came over, picked it up, brought it back home. Same day, I barbecued and I posted a story. And like had 3 or 4 people text me and was like, well, thanks for the invite. I'm like, I ain't posting no more. I'm just going home to my cave and do my
That's
thing.
it. I'm just going to do it at my house by myself.
Oh man. All right.
Look,
So
I was going to say, now I have a question because he has talked about how independent and introverted and I like my time by myself, but you deal with him. So what does that look like for how you enjoy time, obviously, with your family? Like, what does that look like for you as far as making time to love him that way and get filled by yourself? Because we're extroverts. Like, what does that look like?
So he painted me like as if I'm like a 10 on the extrovert scale. I am not. Our daughter is. She cannot
is.
get enough time with
Yes,
people.
she is.
And I feel like I gauge it like when after either you're alone or after you're with people, where do you feel like the most yourself after that interaction is over? And then you can kind of gauge where you are on that scale. Because I spent this winter, like it's probably one of the harder winters where I was like anxious, you know, like a little sad, a little like, you know, in my cave. And I had a get together with friends and I came home and I was like bouncing around the house and I was like, we did this, we did that. And I was like,
She's
I
not
feel like
exaggerating.
me. I was like, I'm me again.
She comes home a different person.
Feels. I love it.
I was like, okay. But I do like my alone time and my own things sometimes, you know.
I feel
there
like
are
you're a
certain
reader,
things.
too.
Oh yeah. I like to read. I was telling Theo, I like to go, there's certain things I like to go and then separate. So like we can go thrift together, but like I'm not following you around, you're not following me around. Like we get to the store, we go find our stuff.
We're adjacent.
And then we can go have lunch. Like we're
Yes.
going to go thrift our own stuff or to the gym. I cannot do the same thing that you're doing. I don't know if it's just the rebellion in me, but I'm like, I'm not coming to do what you're doing. We can go to the gym. We can do separate things. And then we can go hang out
I
somewhere
feel
else.
like that's why this works.
Yeah.
Because he is the lone guy. He's like, we're going to go do the thing together, but separate.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I love it.
Yeah. A lot of our time at home these days is like together separately where he's like playing his game and I'm at home reading my book or watching my show or editing and
You just get to be
We're-
around each other.
yeah.
And
we're hanging out, but we're doing things separately.
Yeah.
And then for me, I like to go do things. So I like to be able to do activities together. Whereas, I hope you enjoy it too. He's like, I hate it.
I enjoy
How was
you.
it for you?
Yeah, see, I enjoy
I
you.
enjoy her. So
that's
if
it.
she says I want to go see a movie, I'll go see a movie.
I'm going.
I don't care about the movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if she's actually each and every time I've been to an amusement park with her was because she wanted to go to the amusement park. And it's like, okay, I don't hate it, you know, but I'd be okay at home. You know?
As long as I
So-
get to be with my hottie, I'm good.
Exactly.
That's it.
I'm cool. I'm cool.
No, I need to enjoy the thing.
Yes.
I need to be with the hottie and enjoy the things
Yes.
that we're doing.
Tell us a little bit about how you grew up. So as you
Yeah.
tell that story, y'all will understand why I painted her as the 10 on the extrovert
yeah,
scale.
because growing up, I had like the TV show version of friends that hang out all the time, but it wasn't like school. You know, a lot of those TV settings, it's like, oh, your school friends or your best friends. But
Yeah.
I had the like youth group of my dreams where we were just like such a tight knit group. And it was about like 30 maybe
Wow.
kids that were in our youth group when I was growing up. And so there was a core of about like maybe 7 to 10 of us that would like, I'm talking like Wednesday nights we were together. Thursday night was worship rehearsal. Friday night we're getting together. Sunday we're at church. Sunday afternoon we're making crepes at someone's house. Like we were together
Wow.
all the time. And when we're not, we're texting and we're joking and we're, you know, messaging on Facebook and all this kind of stuff. So we were always in communication.
Meanwhile, when I met her and started getting in their circle, I'm like, y'all hang out too much.
It might have been a little toxic at times. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it was. I do have a little bit of rose-colored glasses looking back because I just had like the community growing up.
No, it was a good community.
Yeah, it
It's a
was
great
good.
community.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, it was so like toxic looking back. I'm just saying, you know, it was a lot.
Teenagers
It was a
have
lot of
things that happen.
those
Yeah.
silly,
So, yeah.
silly things growing up. But moving into college, even some of my friends from the youth group, we all went to the same college. Like we joke that Liberty University is like our sponsor school. We just like send everybody there because half of our youth group went to Liberty. And so I even had those friends to kind of like keep me tethered when I went to college. And then coming back, a lot of them moved away. And then coming here, it's such a different vibe. And so it's been a lot different trying to break into like the community space here
Yeah.
where I like just naturally had it growing up. I lived in the same town basically my whole life and bounced around schools a little bit. And I didn't seem to have a lot of problems like making friends in school, but I had that same like core group. So it wasn't a problem for me. I guess it wasn't a stressor of like, oh my gosh, like I'm all alone because I knew Wednesday night and Friday night and Sunday night I'm going to be with my people. So it doesn't really matter like how many friends I do or don't have at school. But it's been a lot different as an adult trying to like navigate that
It's hard.
space.
So hard.
Yeah. because I felt like it was always like an even like back and forth with my friends. Like I would invite as much as they would invite, and they would text as much as I would text. So it always felt very equal. But realizing that I have to be the one to reach out a lot of times, where I am not always like, I'm like, well, when is someone going to message me, or when is someone going to text me back, and kind of taking on that role of, okay, maybe you're the host right now. Like that's your season.
Yeah.
And just like being the inviter and allowing opportunities for connection in that way. I led an adult small group for a few seasons while we were here, and that was great. But I was still like the host. I still was doing the inviting. I was scheduling where we would be and what we were doing and all that kind of stuff, and watching them be friends. And I was like, okay, like that's fine.
Yeah.
Some of them are really great friends, and I love that for them. But I've just kind of learned in the past couple of years, like I'm going to be intentional with my one-on-ones. It's not necessarily going to be that dream youth group that I had growing up, but those one-on-one connections are going to be deep. Good and and worthwhile for me. So that's kind of the season that I'm in now, where I have to be okay with it just looking different.
It's really good that you say that, because I think sometimes we miss the fact that sometimes we have to grieve that, especially if you come from like such a strong community here, and then there's a season of like trying to find new people, new friends, and there's a space of like, even as much as you don't want to, of comparison. Like you have to compare, like, oh, this doesn't feel like what it used to feel like. This is not so easy. This feels inorganic. It feels fake. Oh my God, I don't want to tell my story again to somebody, like, and then that person might not be the right fit, and like all of this stuff is draining. But there's also like a grief process, I think, that has to happen. It's the same thing for me. Like I had this really strong community coming from Jersey with my last church. We were together all the time. And then I moved here, and it's interesting because I felt before I moved here, like I feel like God was actually preparing me, because I remember like hearing like you're going into a season like of the wilderness kind of thing, like you'll be alone. And I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fine. Like that's fine. I'm prepared. We're good. I'm going to be married anyway. And no, like when he said it, it was like, wow, that season was a long one, you know? And I am someone, like I love my husband. He is my favorite person to hang around. I also like to have my time with my friends. And like that was so hard, because I think when you go through these seasons, whether it's like getting married or becoming a mom, inevitably you lose friends. Like things change. There are people who just, I don't know, they have a misconception or they don't understand or whatever. So for me, being one of the first ones to get married in like that space of that group, a lot of people, well, we weren't reaching out because we thought you wanted to be like, you know, alone with your marriage. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? Like he works all day. I'm home. Like I need friends. Somebody call me. Somebody pick up the phone. So there was a little bit of that in the beginning of that change. But then as I started to meet people, it was hard, because I'm like, oh, this just doesn't feel right. Like it just, it's so much effort. I want it to be easy. I want it to be, and you kind of forget that like that thing that you had there had that space of time too, where you had to build up to a place where you could just feel so comfortable with a group of people. So it took a while. And then even here at, you know, at the church we're at now, New Life, like I would say just right now, I've been here 3 years, is that I'm starting to feel like, like real settled, real like, okay, like I have my people, I have a community. I'm starting to feel that in a very real way. But 3 years of just, that's a long time, you know, for somebody who like loves hosting and community. And even that, like in Jersey, I used to host all the, like every week, like Dave's house, that was my house, you know? And so to be here and we have like this beautiful space and stuff, and I'm like, where are the people?
I think that is a hard lesson for people to learn as we grow. And I think a lot of people think, oh, well, you do all your learning and growing when you're a kid, and then when you're adult, you just know stuff, and you're just everything. Like you can control the things. Like if I want ice cream, I'm going to get an ice cream because I can. But like you can control all of the things once you're an adult. But people don't realize that, no, I've never been this exact age before of this date and these experiences and this circumstances that I'm in. So you're constantly going to be learning and growing and in new spaces and wildernesses and mountaintops and, you know, different types of things. But I think that it's very hard, and it is something that a lot of people need to realize, that adult friendships adult community takes work. It's very difficult
Yeah.
because you have to go through those awkward stages where you're finding your fit. But then there's also finding your fit within the stage of life that you're at. Because as a newly married person, there's a switch because you can still go out and hang out with your single friends. Your wild single friends that are not continuously pointing you back to your marriage is probably not somebody that you should be hanging around. That's somebody that you can still have love for. And, you know, if they need you for something, absolutely, that's always going to be my friend. But I can't be around you as much to have the influence of what you're doing influence my marriage. And that I feel like you got something.
No, well, I mean, that, and also it's just like some people, like it's hard to understand certain seasons until you're in them, right? Like it's really difficult to understand what it's like for a brand new parent in those first 3 years. It's wild, right? It's wild. And so if you have friends who don't have kids and maybe don't have younger siblings that they were around.
9 p.m. is a real time.
It's a thing, right?
It's a real end of the day.
And I remember that, like going through these changes. Like I had 2 girls. We were like a 3, like we were really, really tight at one point. And we actually made it even through the marriage, me marrying and moving out here. We still managed to stay like super, super tight. And they'd come visit and stuff, but then the kids came and the kids changed like everything. And so I got to a space where, like, in particular with like one of my friends, so I still like love her, hope everything is going well for her, but like I realized like, wow, she really can't understand the season I'm in and like at all. And so like the expectations that she has of me, I can't meet. And because I can't meet her expectations, it's tainting our friendship.
Right.
And rather than do that, hey, I think we need to have a conversation. People don't do this. They just kind of like, you know, go their separate ways. But I'm like, no, I have enough respect for you to have a conversation with you to say, hey, I love you, but actually I don't think I can meet your expectations right now. And like, we need to like take a break. Maybe forever. I don't know.
I think that's the biggest thing though, is that communication piece, because that is a real, very, very, very real part of it. Whether it's marriage, whether it's having kids, whether it's becoming an empty nester, you're retired, or you know, a job change to where, okay, maybe I was working from home. So yeah, I could call you because I'm in my own home space and I can do my work and have a phone call with you. Or, hey, I can have you come over right at 4 o'clock because I'm off. As soon as I'm off, like I'm at home and I can have you come over at 4 o'clock. But now I have to go into the office and it's a stressful 2-hour drive in and then a stressful 1.5 hour, 2-hour ride home. And then I wasn't able to cook dinner while I was at work. So now I got to get home and I don't have the same time. Like there's so many things that can impact where you're at, in what season you're at. And if you don't have those conversations to say, hey, I still want to hang out, or I still want to do that, like we have to just adjust what we do, or we're going to have to just see each other less often. And if that means that our friendship dwindles, then that's okay. I still love you. But I just want to make sure that you understand I'm not telling you, no, you can't come over, or no, we can't hang out, or no, I'm not available because you've done something or I've done something. It's just the circumstances have changed and things have to adjust.
I think the other thing that a lot of people need to realize when they are dealing with friendships and changes in the friendship, when it comes to, seasons of life and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like a lot of people miss out on the love languages conversation. Right?
Yes.
Love languages has so much more to do than just in a marriage, right? So if I know that my friend love language, how they receive love is quality time, and right now I got kids, I got work, I got all this, well then I'm not going to be, as you said, I'm not going to meet that expectation of what you need, right? In fact, you and I have had a conversation. I had a conversation with somebody a few months ago where he was upset because he felt like we didn't spend enough time together. And I'm racking my brain. I'm like, we've done this. And for me, my time is precious. Not that this person is not precious, but it's like, I have to.
It's just limited.
Yes, that's it. Limited. I have to spend time with my wife and invest in that. I have to spend time with my kids and invest in that. Then there's a whole ministry on top of that. And I'm like,
You have a
and I
3,000
still,
person church.
right. And I'm like, and I still made time for you in all these ways, right? But for this person, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say it was a blow up, but it was like a, conversation that was had where they were just like, hey, I just really don't feel like we're, as deep of friends as we should be. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I was talking
Because
with
for you, you're like,
I'm like,
I thought we were great friends.
I'm like, we're boys, you know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of us miss that when it comes to friendships is what is this person's love language? How can I notice how they give love? How can I notice how they receive love? And then how can I get into that?
Yeah.
Now, were you gonna say something?
Well, I was just gonna say, but it's on both ends too, because there are, like, I have found too that there are people who are like, oh, you're not doing these things for me, you're not doing this for me, and you're not being a friend. And I'm like, have you checked once to see what it is that I might need in this season, or is it all just like one-sided kind of thing, you know? And so for those, and this is what I'm saying, like, I think, yes, I don't think that necessarily we have to cut off everybody, but I think sometimes there needs to be a sever, and I don't think we're good enough at that. And not a sever to like, oh, it can't be restored, but in a like, hey, like a very clear conversation, like, hey guys, I don't think our friendship is like doing what it should be doing, like flat out. And
so you're taking me into my next question that I want to kind of throw out there for everybody to answer in your own way. I'll give you my bend, but I want you guys to answer the question first. All right. At what point do you stop mining the relationship? Right. If you, and I use that term purposefully because I look at friendships just like mining for gold, mining for jewels, right? You're sitting there and you're hitting at this rock, you're chipping. And if you look and you're 10 feet into the mountain and you're like, okay, I ain't found nothing yet. How far do you keep going before you say, I struck gold, or like, I'm gonna keep going because maybe I'll strike gold? At what point do you just say, nah, we got to find another mountain. We got to find another spot. We got to find, you know what I mean? At what point do you guys draw that line of the severing, the pruning of friendships versus no, keep going?
Yeah. I mean, I have like, my brain is going in two different directions. So let me see if I can put it together. But one of the things I remember, it helped me a lot because I was in a place, kind of like Sylvana, what you were saying, where like I was pouring into a ton of people because I was leading groups. And so it's hard in those spaces for you yourself to feel like, oh, I'm actually friends.
Like a peer.
But everybody sees you as their friend, but like not really. You're not the one who's like getting no one's calling to check up on you. Yeah. Right. That kind of thing. And so I had to kind of like develop some kind of way to kind of, I guess, cope with all of these people. And I forgot what book or what podcast or what it was, but it made so much sense of having like almost like 3 circles around yourself. And then so you have your outer circle, which are like your acquaintance kind of thing, your hi, bye, I can I'll talk about your cat. Okay. And like that kind of thing. But then you have like sort of like an inner circle where you kind of, maybe you do grab a coffee. Not that. It's a little different, but similar. But like, maybe I'll grab a coffee with you here and there, but like, it's not, the people that I'm going to rock with that really, really know me. And then you have those like little close people who are super close. And so my problem throughout time has been that because I've been pouring in so much, sometimes I confuse like where somebody is. And so I'll have somebody who's close in proximity, and I'll confuse the proximity, like how much they're around me, for like, oh, then they should be in this inner circle. Yeah. And that got me into trouble a lot. Okay. Like when I was younger, of like, oh yeah, this person's always around, so this means that they have access to my inner blah, 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 because they're always there. Not understanding really like, oh no, there are other things that I should be looking for those people who are at my core. Yeah. Right. And that kind of helped me to like place people, not that people like couldn't move in and out and stuff, but like it helped me not to feel disappointed because the person who's out here is not behaving like the person who's like in my core here, right? And vice versa. Like I want to know my place with these friendships too. Where am I in your space? Because I don't want to be dropping the ball if I'm the friend that's supposed to be with you at every waking moment. The
relationship.
Yes, like literally, like can we have these
friendship?
Can we have these things? But for me, at the end of it, I think we have to pay attention to the conversations that we have with people.
Mm.
And so like I'm thinking in particular of this one relationship where, again, we were so close. Like, you know, I would have thought like this person is going to be in my life forever. But as we started having conversations, every now and then there were these like little threads of like negativity in there, like, you know, and I'm like, to the point I'm like, I'm putting all these thoughts together. I'm like, does this person even like me? Like, are we just friends because we've been friends?
Yeah.
You know, but like the growth is actually not happening there anymore. The love, the understanding, all of that stuff is actually not there. When I get off the phone with this person, I don't feel good anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and not that friendship's all about feeling good, but like, I don't feel good. Like, I actually feel bad about myself when I get off the phone.
That's not good.
Okay, well, then that is something that we need to talk through and think about. And if it can't be resolved, then it needs to be severed. It needs to be cut.
Yeah.
But I think that we sometimes lack the ability to do that. And so we like just ghost people and we avoid and we don't have the conversations. And I think that's really unfortunate. And I don't think I think that works in the world, but I think as Christians, we're held to a higher standard for all of our relationships.
Yes.
So I think if the relationship was ever important to us at some point, like a conversation is owed. And then, you know, maybe you rekindle, rework, whatever later on. But at the very least, I want to give my brother or sister in Christ the opportunity to hear why I need to take a step back or just leave completely away. That's how I feel about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Agree with Phil.
So someone told me something very smart. I don't know if you've met him. His name is Theo.
Oh, I know Theo.
And I wasn't ready to hear it at the time, but when I was leaving that community where like my friends were my everything at that point, and so I was like struggling and feeling almost heartbroken at the lack of community and feeling that reciprocation. And I think, I don't know if I'm going to phrase it exactly how he phrased it, but in summary, it was that not everyone's going to be your everything friend. And it's okay to have, this is my friend that I just go have coffee with and we talk about thrifting and like, that's it. And that's fine. And this is my friend that we sing together and we love to talk about music, and that's it. And it doesn't have to be bearing my soul. This is my everything friend. Like we do everything together, because that's just not realistic. So just kind of letting go, like you said, of those expectations that, oh, we have this in common, so you can be my everything friend. And like no one is really supposed to be that except for your spouse is supposed to be, you know, my friend, my support. You know, we're united. And then obviously not to be too woohoo, but like Jesus is supposed to be your everything friend. And so just kind of managing those expectations of it doesn't have to be that deep. It doesn't have to be that serious. You're my friend that I just thrift with, and let it be light, let it be fun, let it be that kind of connection. And it is kind of a little bit like dating when you're searching for those deeper friendships where you're kind of like vetting that person and like, is what you're going through and your relationship with Jesus and your lifestyle choices, do those speak to me? Do I identify with that? Is that a common connection where we feel like we're on the same level, you know, at least generally on the same level where you're encouraging me, I'm encouraging you. We can speak about this and be honest, and we can connect on multiple levels. And okay, like you're like my deep friend. Like this is a big friendship here, and I'm gonna like invest a lot of time in that, and we're gonna reciprocate, and we're gonna be like spending that time getting to know each other and fostering that relationship. And then there are other relationships where it's like you have some healing to do, I have some healing to do. Like maybe we're not ready to have those kind of conversations, or maybe we never will, and we're just gonna go thrift, and it'll be fun, and it'll be light, and that connection will be there. If you need me, if I need you, if we have to have a serious talk, that's fine. But like, that's all it's going to be. So just kind of navigating those adult relationships where some of them are just not going to be that deep.
And it's so good to not like also to judge the friend that you're just going to, because, and I think I fell into this when I was younger a lot too, of like, oh, this person is like blah, blah. And like, no, this person is not that friend to me, but that person is probably that friend to somebody else. You know what I mean? So not to like, you know, devalue the person altogether because they're just the friend that I can go to coffee with. And I feel like that has helped me to relax a lot in friendships too. And like, I'm not going into every encounter to be honest, most of my close relationships came at like a surprise. Like they're not the person that I would have thought would be the person that would stick around. Like my two best friends, we've known each other since we were 18. Never in a million years would I have picked these two girls to be the ones still rocking with me today, the way that they are, you know? And they're Texas, Atlanta, two separate places. We're both now moms or both married, like all this stuff. We don't get to spend the time that we did when we became friends, you know? In fact, like, you know, with my friend from Atlanta, most of our friendship is on voice notes, like the majority of it, because we can't even get on the same schedule, you know? But like, had I, you know, my friend from Atlanta was my friend that I, at that time, just partied with. Like, she'd be like, hey, girl, come on out. And like, I remember meeting her. She knows this. I love her so much. But I like was like, this girl is on 10 all the time. I cannot take her. She was a year younger than me, so positive, so happy. And I'm like, serious. Like, I can party, but like I can be serious. And she was just all party all the time. I thought, you know, meeting her, never in a million years I think we would have the depth and the beauty in our relationship all of these years later. And it's so cool because I would have counted her out had I just been like, you know. And then my other best friend, we didn't, I mean, she probably didn't, whatever. I did not like her. I just was like, who is this girl? No. Like, no. And I remember she'd try to like have a conversation with me and I'd be like, why is she trying to talk to me, you know? And I'm so glad that she persisted because like, again, like when I talk about people, like she's in the faith with me, she's in the walk with me, we do life together, we have hard conversations together. Not in a million years would have been the person I would have picked that we would have done all this life with together. So I think we have to be careful too when we are like meeting people to not like write them off completely and just, okay, you're going to be here, you're going to be here, but to like let really life and actions dictate, you know, that level of access that they get to your inner heart, you know.
On in that same vein, Patrick, who's actually on this show, for those of you that watched it, the episode we did on music and worship, he and I got here at the church the same time. I got here I think 4 weeks before he did. And I'll never forget, they told me, hey, you know, I was a new worship hire. They said, we got another guy coming in a few weeks. His name is Patrick Benjamin Hampton. And in my brain,
I'm the whole government.
But here's the thing: I heard that name, and I was thinking a white boy, right? Like I was thinking he was going to be this white guy from Benjamin. You know, he's from South Carolina, and so I'll never forget. I came into one of the sanctuaries, and I saw one of our worship leaders talking to him and whatnot. And they're like, "Hey, this is Patrick. You know, he's here. It's his first Sunday here." And I thought it was just a congregant. And then the more they talked, I'm like, "Why are we talking this long to this guy about our worship process?" And I was like, this is Patrick, right? Now the thing about Patrick, y'all probably remember from the episode, he can be a goofball. Like he's just goofy, right? He's hilarious. Now here's the thing, he does have a very serious side. Yeah. And I remember I saw that very serious side, very driven side, and that was the thing that made it cool to work with him, right? But I'll never forget, in my brain it was just kind of like, I can be funny, but I'm more on the like serious side. Mr. You know, she has a hashtag, Theo's always mad, because in all the photos, all the candidates, I always look like I'm just like mad driving or whatever. I'm just focused all the time, right? And so I never really expected for me and Patrick to be like really good friends. Expected to be like good
like
work
invite him over your house.
What?
Like invite him over your house.
She's not gonna let it go.
Yeah,
I will
exactly.
not. It's only been 7 years. Just saying.
Oh man.
I did help him move. I helped him. That's the one time he's invited me to his house. Was I helped him move.
And did not stay for the meal after that I invited her
and
to.
I love food.
So what's that say about you,
I don't
actually?
know.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Just kidding. But yeah, no, it's just like kind of what you said, like when you meet people, kind of letting the relationship organically. Because over the years, Pat and I have become really good friends. And I think part of what that is, and this is some of my bend on how to mine relationships, friendships. Part of that bend is he and I were in the trenches together. Like we were both the new guys here. We were helping Josh build the worship ministry up. We were able to default to one another for each other's strengths and cover for each other's weaknesses, all that kind of stuff. We went through a transition when I stepped into pastoral leadership, and now we have to navigate I'm your boss now, and like we're boys, but I'm still your
Mhm.
boss, and certain things we talk about, and we to the point now where he'll walk in my office and he'll say, I need to talk to my boy, not my boss. And I'll say, all right, I'm taking the boss cap off, right? But like we've navigated all those things together as friends. And if you'd asked me 7 years ago, like, hey, do you think this would be one of your really good friends? I'd probably be like, probably not. Like we'll just do music together, right? And there's another guy, his name is Jeff. I work out with him. Funny enough, his wife worked here, and she would always say when I started preaching here, she was like, you and Jeff have a lot of the same views. Like you guys would love to hang out. And I was kind of like, yeah. Like, okay, whatever. And he actually tricked me into going to the gym with him. He texted me and said, hey, so we're on for the gym this Tuesday, right? And I was like, what? And he was like,
love that.
we talked 2 weeks ago, and you said you would join me for a workout at the gym. And I really didn't remember. I knew I talked to him at the back of the sanctuary after a service, but the life of me could not remember what we talked about. So I was just like, yeah, I'll be there Tuesday. He was like, great, I'll pay for your day pass, whatever. He ran me through the worst arm day ever. Like it was bad. We got to the end of it. We're standing in the parking lot. I was like, all right, man, see ya. Thanks for the workout. He's like, oh, by the way, he's like, you never agreed to this. I figured I might be able to get you here when you agreed. Like, and it was funny because that workout turned into the last 2.5 years of working out, and working out turned to going to dinner together and breakfasts after our Saturday morning workouts and stuff.
That's cool.
And again, if somebody just would have just told me like, hey, like you'll probably be really good friends with this guy, I'd probably be like, maybe not, but just allowing things to, and again, we're in the gym, we're in the trenches together, we're pushing each other. And that turned into doing Bible studies and devotions together. And, so all that to say, part of how I draw that line of mining a relationship, a friendship, and knowing when like, okay, maybe we're not the best of, match to be good friends, is as you're seeing that mining, you should see evidence of the gold, right? Like you see evidence of things there that, and being in the trenches together in some way, shape, or form, you get to see that. You get to see what's there. So for Jeff, one of them was, I saw how what's the word? Devoted, how disciplined he was in the gym. When I first met him, dude was doing 6 days a week at like 2.5 hours a pop. He's like, he had a goal of what he wanted to do with his body. And I watched him kill himself in the gym. And I'm like, that mental fortitude is something. Right. And then I started noticing, like when we have Bible conversations, we're actually having deep conversations with him. I'm like, oh, he's not just a meathead lifter. Like there's something there. So as you're in the trenches with people, and as you're, you should see evidence that like there is gold in this mountain. There is something here. Or you start to see, this ain't it. Like, we're totally different people, but you have to be willing to put in that blood, sweat, and tears to actually get to know people and whatnot. I don't think you've answered this question yet.
I have not, but it's really just a lot of what you guys have said, that I think that, number one, if I'm mining, it's going to be organic. Like the relationship that I'm looking for is just going to happen, because I'm going to be me. And if you can stand to be around me for long enough, we're going to be friends. And
so definitive. We're going to be friends.
we're going to be friends. We're going to be friends.
You're going to know enough about me.
All of you say, I'm an open book. I will tell you anything you want to know. Like, I don't have like a bunch of secrets that I'm like, no, sure, I'll tell you whatever, because I know that God's going to use all of whatever it is in my story and my vulnerability to be like, oh, if I feel comfortable enough to open up to you, number one, it's not just to you. I'm just open with it. But I'll share things with people, but it gives them the opportunity.
Exactly.
It's not quite the trenches, but it gives you the ability to kind of pull some walls down. I think it's actually very complicated being somebody that works at a church, because a lot of people will put you on a pedestal, or they'll think, I can only be a certain type of person around you because this is who you are and this is where you work. And I have to be holy, so I can't tell you what I'm struggling with. I can't tell you that I'm struggling in my marriage. I can't, because the church wants marriages to stay together. So I can't tell you that I'm considering divorce. And I can't tell you that my husband cheated. And I can't tell you that, my kids don't listen and I don't know what to do. And I feel lost and I feel lonely. Like a lot of people just feel like they can't share the hard things, where I think if I share the hard things first, or if I say, yeah, that's something that I struggle with, or this or that, or, you know, whatever, like, I'm human too. And it's kind of like you can see walls start to break down for people. And then to me, that's where the mining starts. Like, once we get on the same level, because God made all of us equals. Like, just because you're the pastor of the church, I love you and you're my boss. But, like,
Don't fire me, but
don't fire me. But we the same for Jesus, not here, but for Jesus.
1000%.
But I mean, but that really, like, to have a friendship,
Yeah.
you have to get to that equal level of knowing, like, hey, you're a party girl. Not you, but like, just in reference to what you're saying.
Former.
Former party girl.
Ex.
Same. But like, okay, we can start at the same place. Now, if in these conversations, like you said, with your party girlfriend, you realize, oh my gosh, like, she has so much depth. Like, this is great. Like, these are great conversations and this is good and she cares and she's genuine. Great. But if we start here and it's like, this is the only place you are and that's all you got.
Yeah.
I can love you right here. We're just not going to go deeper, and that's okay. So I really think it's, for me, all of my friendships have just been organic, and kind of like you were saying, like, this is the season I'm in, and if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I really think the biggest thing for me is honesty and transparency and vulnerability. If you can be those things with other people, there's the opportunity to strike gold.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody that is guarded and very closed off, and like, I think that you're potentially missing out on opportunities. Now, I'm not saying share your deepest, darkest secrets.
I am.
You know, Max said, give it all. But I mean, I'm not saying you do that in the first coffee.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe you do.
Maybe
you do. I mean, we had a conversation in the office.
We
Like,
sure did.
we're just
Yeah.
going to lay it out there. And we're best friends now. But
She told you we will
she
be
said,
best friends.
she said, I have two best friends. And I was like, there's a third.
there's room.
There's room. There's only two.
Scooch
She's
my
got
way
more
in
room.
here.
I'll go my way.
Ashley's
in.
like,
It's fine.
I took one of those people's places.
Yeah.
No, there's room for more. There's room for, I don't have to take a place. There's room for more because I have room. So she has room too. But I just feel like it's gonna happen organically, and it's gonna have that depth. I don't think that I have to mine. I don't think that that's something that I'm actively doing, is like looking for, and I'm looking. That's not how I see it. I see it as we have opportunities,
Yeah.
and it's going to be more or it's going to be the same. And the same is okay. Kind of like you were saying, like, this is just my thrifting friend, and that's good. Like, it'll be the same, and the same is good. Or it'll be more, and more is good too. So I don't think there has to be this expectation of, I'm looking for gold. I got to find the gold friend, and it's got to be, I need diamonds. Like, it's really just, and for me, you've got to be able to take honest feedback.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in a season of sugarcoating. Like, if you're telling me about this thing and that thing that's going on, and I'm telling you, girl, you need to do XYZ.
Yeah.
And you're like, gonna make excuses and you're gonna cover it up, and we're not going any deeper than we are, because I'm gonna try to help you to get to your best self. If you don't want your best self for yourself, then I'm not gonna continue to invest in trying to, like, don't call me again with the same thing. And you haven't done anything different.
I think I'm very much the same. I want to see, like, movement. And so, like, I think the women who have pursued friendships with me, if I put them on a wall somewhere and like looked at everyone, I think the thing that they had in common was sort of this like strength of like, I'm fighting through or willing to fight through, right? And because for me, I can be very like straightforward as well. And like, and I used to be scary. I feel like I'm less scary now. Maybe it's just my own perception of me. Huh?
I don't think you're scary.
Thank you. So I'm less scary. It's
Still
working.
scary.
I used to be very scary, I feel like. So like people, you know, so for somebody like those two girls that I told you about, like they pursued a friendship with me. Like I did not want anything to do with this girl. And then this one I was like, how are we going to get through this? You know, but they like were so persistent in pursuing. And I tell them all the time, like how grateful I am. But they were two very strong women in their own right? It didn't look like me, but they had their own kind of, you know, self. They're very sure of who they were. And like that was helpful for me also to like let my guard down, because I do love being there for people. Like, however, I'm going to hear the sob story one time. The second time we talk, how are we getting out of this? But if you're someone who's consistently wanting to stay in that, I'm not the right friend for that.
Right.
And people know that. People know, like, I'm not going to call Max until I'm ready to do something. So sometimes I will go months without hearing from someone. And they'll be like, well, I didn't want to call because, I'm like,
You're gonna make me change.
Yeah.
So you're ready to make the change then?
Yeah. And
okay, all right, let's move.
My best friend, she'll tell you, she's like, the first thing I'll call her and she picks up. She's like, did Jesus tell on me? I was like, yeah.
Yes, it did.
She's like, all right, well, here's what's going, and like, it's almost this weird kind of thing. But like, I also want to say, like, for us, for myself, like, I also want to make sure that I'm adding value, right, into my friendships. And like, we have to, I think, be a little bit more perceptive, and we have to, like, look at ourselves a little bit also to be like, hey, what am I adding to these spaces? Am I just taking up space? Am I just taking up time? Am I just wanting more and more and more from people and not really adding anything to it because I'm not building on my relationship with Jesus so that I can be secure as well?
Yeah.
I think that is, something that we have to think about, because there are toxic friendships. There are friendships that are too dependent on one another, and they're not pointing each other to any growth or any good and all of that.
Yeah.
And so you have to, like, be in a season where you're like, okay, like, I am not necessarily the best to, and if I can be honest about that, I don't need to be the strong friend all the time, but I need to be an aware friend. Like, that's pretty important for me to be like, hey, I know normally you're used to getting feedback or advice from me or whatever, but like, right now I need this. I need your input, and like, to be able to have relationships that we can do that back and forth. I think that's the most valuable thing.
Yeah.
If I don't have that, then cool, but you're going to be in that, like, outer kind of circle.
So in addition to that, there's the back and forth, but then also kind of combining some of the things all of us have already said. I think it's important to have a variety of friends, right? Now, you talked about, like, the friend you thrift with, the friend that you go grab coffee with, or this or that. So like, I already mentioned Patrick and Jeffrey, but then there's also like Pastor Mike and Pastor Dave, who I do life with, I work with, I lead with, right? And you need to have that variety, because with Mike and Dave, we are, yes, we pray together and we lead the church together, but we're also goofy and we work out together and things like that, right? But there's a difference between my goofy with them and my goofy with Patrick or with Jeffrey. It's a different kind of goof, right? But you need those varieties in your relationships. As you were saying, like, there's going to be some people that you need to pour into you, and sometimes that pouring might not happen from this friend here, right? But that's still a really good friend. But you need to be poured into by somebody. I forget the exact quote, but they said, like, everybody needs a Paul, everybody needs a Timothy. Like, you need someone that you're looking up to, you need someone that you're pouring into. And it's not that Paul would look at Timothy and be like, you're a toxic friend because you never pour into me. Like, he knows that's his role, to be pouring into Timothy, to be, But
I'm going to push back on this thought a little bit. Because yes, Paul is mostly pouring into Timothy, but he is also seeing Timothy take what was being poured and producing fruit.
Right.
So yes.
So he's not pouring back, but he's pouring out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You should be able to pour into people and it not be a loss from you.
Correct.
It not be sucking
It's an
you dry.
empty well or a bottomless well.
Right.
Yeah.
They're using it. They're doing things with it, and you're genuinely friends with them.
Yeah.
But it's not sucking you dry because you're being poured into as well.
Yeah.
Right. From this variety of relationships.
Well, there's that verse that, like, talks about don't throw your pearls among swine. And I think it's talking more about the gospel, but it can also be about friendships where if you have wisdom to give and you have life experience to pour into someone and they're not ready to hear it, they're not ready to grow, or they're bucking against it,
come on, Pastor,
you're wasting your time. Like, I'm sorry, but you kind of are. And there are different roles that requires you to continue doing that, unfortunately. Maybe fortunately or unfortunately, if you're a pastor, you have to be ready to continue to pour out to someone that might not be ready to hear it. And maybe they will circle back and be like, oh my gosh, 2 years ago, I heard a sermon where they were talking about this thing that I'm going through now, and I'm ready to hear it now. But especially when you're talking about relationships and people that you're opening the door to in your life, if you are pouring out to someone and they are not giving back or they are not growing from it and you're not seeing the fruit from it, maybe they're not that person for you.
I mean, and this is important too, because I feel like friendships is one of those areas, like a lot of people pray to God about their spouse, about their future husband, their future wife, whatever. A lot of people pray about their future jobs,
Their kids,
their children, about the house, like all of these things. But I don't know how many people think to pray like specifically for friendships, right? And so when these things happen, like I'm just thinking about my friend who I kind of, you know, cut it off. Like I prayed about that. Like I didn't just like, okay, I'm feeling XYZ, so immediately take a knife. And no, like that was a process of me feeling like this for a while and taking it to God and asking, hey, can I release this? Am I meant to release this? Is this meant to be something I'm working through? And God has done like really, like I remember being in a small group a while back. I think I was telling you the story, and it was so awkward. It was the only group that worked with my schedule, but it happened to be all moms, and I wasn't a mom yet. And in fact, I didn't know that I wanted to be a mom yet. So they would sit there and talk about all the mom stuff, and I was dying. Like, I don't want to be here. But I kept praying, and God is like, you got to go. Like, you got to stay. I'm not asking you to leave yet. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, you know, and it ended up being that the one person who led the group, who like I had a really hard time connecting with, kind of because maybe I was seeing that surface thing and that bothers me. But like we ended up connecting after the group was done, and she's somebody I still stay in contact with today, right? And I got to know her actually, I think, and the reason I wasn't being released from that group was I think for that friendship, you know, and I wasn't being released from her, even though this is uncomfortable, this is blah, blah. And I think if we take the time to like ask the Holy Spirit into our friendships too, I think we can have even more effective, you know, friendships or cutting people off or knowing who is meant to be in our space, because we are one person. We're not meant to like pour out to everybody, but we are meant to pour into someone.
Yeah.
And that is a point that is stresses me out a little bit, because I feel like I run into a whole lot of people who are like, I don't like people. And I'm in church, but and not even in church, like I have my relationship with God, so I don't need people. I don't need the church, because
like there's t-shirts that say like, I only like my dog. And it's like, well,
that's a problem.
You don't want people to approach you.
Yeah, this is a problem. And I think, we started this conversation off with, I'm an extrovert, I'm an introvert, blah, blah, blah. And like, we have to be careful with some of those things, because it can be true, but also we can't make it so much our identity that we're not able to disrupt ourselves, or that allow the Holy Spirit to disrupt ourselves into what he wants. Right. At the end of the day, whether I'm an introvert or an extrovert, that's secondary to the fact that I am a Christ follower, and that Christ commands us to love God and love others, and that he commands us to go out and make disciples of all nations. And we need to do that in community. So we don't get to say, oh, hey, I actually don't really like people. So I'm just going to not obey this part of what God says, but God, me and you are still good, right? No, like we're going to know if we're followers of Christ by how we live our life and how we walk. So me, despite not always wanting to be around people, I'm going to be around people because God calls, and I have to trust that God is going to do something out of that. Now there's wisdom in that I don't need to be around 10,000 people all the time. But yeah, I am called to constantly be going, even when you're brand new baby Christian, there should already be somebody that you are talking to about your experience and your walk. There's constantly someone that you should be walking alongside with. And I think we have to like stop making our like personalities like the king of whether or not we engage with people.
I do think you just talked about praying to God just about the friendships and for clarity on things, and I'm going to continue to push into that. And I'm going to keep saying this till I'm blue in the face, because I truly have seen the fruit of it. So I do think that it's so important. But I've got alarms in my phone to pray for all the members of my family. And if people pray in the morning and that's what they do, or like you have other rhythms, that's absolutely great. My brain needs the alarms at different times so that I can separate the prayers, that it's like I'm not trying to, because y'all know I love Jesus and I love to pray, but it'd be long. It'd be so long. Sometimes I'm like, God, you just need to hear all the words. You made me like this. You got to hear all the words that I have in my brain. But it'd be long. So if I'm praying for my husband at that particular time, like if I'm trying to pray in the morning for everybody, I'm going to be even more late to work. Like I need. So for me and the way my rhythms work, I can break it up throughout the day.
Yeah.
But I think it's important, like you said, to pray for the friendship. So I got an alarm at 10:05 where I'm praying for my friend, and whatever it is that she's going through right now, I'm lifting her up, just like I lift up my husband, just like I lift up my kids, just like I lifted my mom and my brothers, and like just as much as I'm lifting up who God gave me as my blood family,
Yeah.
I'm also going to go in and lift up my friend.
Yeah.
Not just because I think it is important to get clarity before we enter or exit a deep friendship, but I want to be lifting her up all the time. I want to make sure that if whatever it is that she's going through, that I'm going to say what I'm going to say, because I'm going to tell you about yourself. But also I want to make sure that I'm inviting Holy Spirit into whatever it is that they have going on. So that way, and again, if what I told you is not Holy Spirit, you listen to Holy Spirit. But it just gives that opportunity to continue to listen to what they're saying and invest in what they're saying and find value in where they are.
Yeah.
Because it's where she's at is not where I am.
Yeah.
But she's somebody that's I'm investing in. I feel like all of y'all know what I'm talking about, but like that's somebody that I'm investing in, and I need to make sure that I'm always in alignment with what assignment he has for me.
Yeah.
So we're praying.
So I'll say two things. Both of them are implied among us, but I want to say it so that everybody's on the same page. We've been talking a lot about throwing your pearls to the swine, and you just said I'm gonna tell you what I gotta say, and you're saying if I give you things that I'm seeing, and you're not actually putting those things to work with the Paul and Timothy thing, all that. But it also goes the other way too.
Yep.
Right. Being good friends, meaning being able to
Take
get
it.
that. Yeah. Being able to have a friend look at you and say, hey, I love you, but the way you just talk to your spouse is not okay, or the way you're doing
You
this
wrong.
thing. Yeah, you need to be able to take that. You need to be able to hear that. The second thing is we talk about the need for community, and that's apparent. We all need community. But the other thing I have to say is that you should not depend on friends. You should not expect from friends what can only be expected from God.
Yeah.
Amen.
Right? Because there is this certain thing that I see among Christians and non-Christians who are so dependent on community, and they might have a good community around them, but what they're actually trying to find is, as the old song says, what a friend we have in Jesus, right? Like there's certain things you can't get from other humans. Now, it's a balance act. It's a balancing act, because I tell people the most important gift that God gave was himself in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. The second most important gift is each other, the friendships that we have. So both are needed, right? But I still stand by the most important thing he gave was himself, right? Love God, love people. But you can't love people until you learn how to love God. You can't really steward those friendships well, or know what to expect from those friendships until you have a real relationship with God, right? That imbalance takes place a lot, and it scares me sometimes. People, you could go that route with relationships, and with your spouses. People are stuck in this, expecting something from this human that this human was never meant to give you.
Right. Yeah, and I think we get into seasons too where we get like very angry even when that lack of community is there, right? Either at God or at other people for not being there. And I think sometimes it's like a missed opportunity too, because what if God is using that season of you being alone to work on the intimacy that you have with him, right? Or there are character things that there's a reason why you're alone and can't make friends. You know what I mean?
You don't have no friends.
Right? So like realistically, there are spaces of that. And I think coming back to me moving here.
So he made you less mean.
He did make me less mean. I will
Scary
say,
or whatever the word was.
I will say you all very lucky did not know me before Jesus. Okay.
Y'all lucky.
Before Jesus, it was different. After Jesus, a lot softer, right? And as I got older, we're somewhere in the middle. I think I overcorrected from being like very like, also you guys know I grew up in Brooklyn, okay? And I grew up when the time period I did in Brooklyn. There's not like a ton of room to be like soft girl era when you're growing up in Brooklyn, taking the train alone at like 14 years old and blah, blah, blah. You need to have a mean face so people don't mess with you. Yeah. So that is my defense, okay? Taking that. But but yeah, I mean, I think my friendships, you know, I've always had, like I said, good groups of friends around, but I think something happened when I moved into relationships within the church. For me, and I was lucky, and I know people don't always get this, or I was blessed, but like people don't always have the best experiences with trying to find community in church, whether it is the one-on-one or whether they attend a small group and it's weird. But for me, I was very blessed in that I entered into a community that was really strong. And those girls, I say it over and over again, I will forever be grateful for them, because they taught me what it is to really, truly be a sister, not just a friend, like to take that step above, beyond, to think about those things that, you know, that same friend that we're no longer friends. Like I will always speak highly of her, because I remember I had this like really scary experience one time, and I remember calling her and she's like, okay, I'll be there at 6. And she came with 3 other girls. They prayed over the whole house, anointing oil, like all of this stuff, you know? And I'm like, that is friendship in action, right? I can't, and I'm not going to expect that from everybody, but she has a place in my heart always, because I remember that. I remember that from her, you know? And so she did teach me, like, okay, when those people get into that inner, you go a little harder for those people. You know, you give a little bit more than what you would expect. And the beauty in what God actually does with us being sacrificial in our friendships, right? Not a doormat, not like giving everything to everyone at all times, but sacrificial love, like that does transform. And that's what I saw in my relationships once I came to Christ, that was not necessarily there prior to that. Love those friends, still friends with some of those people in that time period too, honor them, respect them for where we were, but it was different when I came here. So what is my push then? Once I got to experience that, I'm like, okay, everybody needs to experience this, right? So I started leading groups, trying to do kind of, Sylvana, what you were saying, like create that space for connection, so hopefully other people would find their people. But how do we get to the people who do not want to join groups to meet people? There's people who are like, I'm so lonely. We talked about this before. Like, I'm so lonely. I don't know what to do. Nobody likes me.
No.
Have you joined a group? No, that's not for
Are
me.
you serving anywhere? No.
No. I don't want to get plugged in. So what do we do with that?
Do you leave during announcements? Yes.
Great. I rush out of it.
I leave
I'll tell you,
immediately.
you know what you were doing. You just hit a hot button for me, because
Same.
nothing makes me more upset than that conversation right there. I've had so many conversations with people. I'm so lonely. I don't have any friends. I don't have any, you know, men, women alike. You know, I need relationship. I need help. And I'll ask them those questions. Okay, are you involved in a group, right? And it's one thing, a team where people are like, you know, like I have some kind of feelings about this, but people are like, I don't want to just be another number of like a volunteer, right? Like I don't just want to be another person opening the doors or serving coffee or this or that. Okay, to show up to a group costs you nothing. Like it costs you nothing, but willing to be a little bit vulnerable. And so if you're telling me I want friendship, but I'm not going to go to where the friends are,
And I'm not going to be vulnerable.
Yeah, like I don't know how to help you, right? All I can do is give it to you, give you the options, and then just pray that you take it up, right? I think about Jesus as he approached all the disciples. He invited them into a very close walk, right? He handpicked them, and of course they didn't know what they were getting into, but like he picked them out, handpicked them out. But he always left them with a choice. Leave everything, come follow me, right? And yes, he said it as a statement, but it was their choice. Peter could have said, "Nah, man, we just had the biggest catch of our lives,
good
right?
now."
Like I'm about to sell this stuff and upgrade my boats and do even better tomorrow, right? Like, but they left everything. And so there's this point that people have to get to of where I'm hungry enough for friendships, I'm hungry enough for relationships, where I'm just gonna make it happen, right? If I work like crazy and the only day I have off is Sunday, then I'm gonna make an effort to, after church, I'm gonna stick around and talk to a few people, and eventually I'm asking somebody to go to lunch with me, right? I'm going to find the time to, this is dramatic, but as Peter did, leave everything to go to the thing that matters, right? And that's what I don't see in enough people.
And you know what, too, coming back to this point is, I think some people have this like image of who their best friend should be or what the friend should be. And so this is why I won't go to the groups because I went to the group one time and I didn't see anybody I would connect with, so I'm never going back. Right? Where in reality, this is friendship takes time. It takes, you know, exposure. It takes all those things. So if you went to a group one time and you never came back, that's on you. That's not just the group's fault. And like also PSA, the pastor is not meant to be your best friend either. There are people that only like, oh, I have issues going on. I only, Theo, you're great. Love you. But you're not the only person that needs to be speaking to everybody. Like, that's
can't
not
be a best friend to 3,000 people.
I cannot tell you the amount of times that, and it's just because like, oh, they see this is the preaching pastor. He must be the only one that knows the Bible. He must be the only one who can talk to God. People will say, hey, can I meet with you? Or can I meet with Pastor Mike? Or can I? And I'll do my best, you know, because you help me with my calendar. I'll do my best to fit people in. But there's so many times I look at people and say, you don't need me. I've got Pastor Corey, who is awesome at the very thing that you're coming saying you need, that I'm not good at. Like, you just heard me preach a really good sermon. And yes, I love the Lord and I love you, but like, that's what you're asking for is not my skill set, not my passion, not my heart.
Even your life experience. Like, it's
exactly.
Let me get you with somebody who's walked through this already and is on the other side, and
can
show
you
the path.
People don't want that. Though. People want to like have that, like what they're seeing as someone close to God, and like I want that. I want to say that I have a relationship with my pastor, and I get this. Listen, I understand wanting to know your pastor. I get that. But do you want to know your pastor more than you want to know Jesus? Do you want to know your pastor more than you want to be in community? Because that is a problem for me. I've seen it over and over. I've been in big churches. I've seen this thing. I'm like, that pastor is a man or a woman, whatever. They have issues. They have stuff, blah, blah, blah. And there are people that we're meant to walk alongside. So no, not that like the pastor has to be hidden and like in a cave somewhere and only comes out when it's time to speak. I'm not saying that either. But you need to watch your own motives. You need to check your own heart when you're saying, oh, only a certain kind of person is worthy enough to speak into my life. That's crazy. That is, I need you back in your Bible. I need you back in your word. You need some revelation from God. Sorry if I offended you. Sorry, not sorry.
Now, side note, those of you who have my phone number and we hang out, just because I'm a pastor does not mean I don't want to hang out with you.
He is not talking about you.
Yeah, I'm saying I said the thing. Okay, I said the thing. And that's the thing too, is like I'm fine. I think I'm in a season here too of refinement, of hoping that the church can be what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Right? And that is that every one of us is important to the body. But if I'm only looking to one person to fulfill all of the needs that I have, I am missing the beauty of what this body is. And is it going to be perfect? No. But that is part of the growth. If I get hurt in church by someone, good. Because that's going to be an opportunity that God can do something in my heart. That's going to be an opportunity the Holy Spirit can come minister to me and heal me. That's going to be an opportunity to test my faith and what I actually believe about God. Because God, are you still good if someone hurt me? That's awesome. If I come out of that and I really wrestled through it, then good that I was hurt.
Yeah.
But we don't have that perspective. We have the perspective of we want everything to be given to us, everything to be easy and free. And I think we miss out. And I think this is why we're in a space where this generation, I don't mean just like the generation coming up, but like as a whole, we're like lonelier than ever.
Well, I will also add to what you were saying. I don't want anybody to miss that. And I don't want to speak for you, so you can speak for yourself. I think it will be jarring to somebody to hear if somebody in the church hurts you good, right? But I think that that's coming from a place knowing your story, that you were that person that was hurt in the church, that you were that person that had to go through it and had to go to God and had to submit the experience, the interactions, the everything that hurt you, and you did submit, and it did bring your relationship deeper, but it also brought you to where you are now. So it's not to say that, you know, we want bad things to happen and, you know, we want all this negativity and all of that. But if that is something that God will use, then yes, that is good because there's somewhere else that God is pushing you to. And it could be not a totally different church. It could be that, hey, you know what, in this season, this was good for you, but we're going to grow you in this way, and that's going to mean that we're going to need to go off on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
and let me
it's
just
not
say,
necessarily like we just want people hurt all the time.
Yeah, I mean, these are not just the words of Max
I was just
and
going to say the
Ashli
same thing.
here.
It's not me. It's
Yeah.
Paul.
And James.
Yeah.
James chapter 1 says, count it as joy
Yes.
when your faith is tried, when trials and tribulations. And he goes on to say, because these trials and tribulations are going to produce perseverance,
Yep.
which is going to produce maturity. So you'll be mature and lacking nothing, is what he says.
100%.
So he's like, take joy in the moments where bad things happen. Not that you're saying, hey, Lord, smite me, hurt me,
Exactly,
you know?
exactly.
But exactly what you said. It's this taking joy that if I do the wrestling, if I present it to God, all the pains, everything in between, and I come out on the other side a more mature person, lacking nothing, is what James says.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Absolutely.
And James is who I meant, not Paul. Thank you for getting me there.
Well,
I
there
just
have
want to
been
give Paul all the credit.
Go ahead, Paul. Well, there have been seasons in my life, particularly moving here and being in a unique position of being like the pastor's wife, but not feeling like, I literally put quotes on it because it doesn't feel like that.
First Lady Sylvana.
Oh, never.
Can we get a tag on the bottom of the video that just says First Lady?
I'm the first lady. Oh, somebody's gonna like shut it off. We're done.
Is there like a second lady? Like what? Why do we have first? Not
Hopefully
you.
not a second
you.
lady.
No?
Not you. But
In
in
general,
general,
I have
second
no
lady.
second
in
lady.
Now's the
general, like
time.
why do we use first lady as a thing? That's weird.
It's
Like
for me. I mean, I know the
presidential
president's
kind of
wife
thing?
is the first
That's
lady.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But
But I
like,
don't
who
know
are the
why-
other
how
Well,
ladies?
they don't call the
adopted
vice
by
president's
church.
wife. Do they? The
Mhm.
second lady?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So maybe the associate's
Maybe
pastor.
it's-
So you're the
Associate
second
pastor.
lady.
okay. Well, then they've
If
been
he's the
calling me
senior
wrong the whole
pastor,
time.
then
So
you're-
Sorry,
But she's
I've
the first
never
lady.
had this thought
She's the
before.
first
I'm like
lady,
really.
but the second lady in the church,
Yes.
but the only
Yeah.
lady. That's it. She's the only
She's my
lady.
first lady.
Yeah.
There you go. First and
That's
only.
it.
wait,
First-
you
first
still
and
say
only.
first though.
I'm
Like
having
there's
an issue with
others.
the word first. Like if
That's
my
why I said first and
husband,
only.
if my husband goes and like he
I
meets
got
somebody and
you.
he's like, "Hey, there's my first wife," I'm like, "What?"
Well, there's
Oh,
a
I
trend
get
going
what you're
around
saying.
like,
I get
there's my
what you're
first
saying.
wife cooking dinner. Like, it's going on social media.
Hey,
And they're all like, what?
Okay.
What'd you say?
She's my lady. All right. She's my lady.
Period.
the love of my whole life, the whole thing.
But circling back, I think I've been in a unique position where I'm not on the church staff, but I'm associated with the church staff because I'm the pastor's wife. But I'm a congregant, but I'm not totally a congregant because I'm associated. It's just an odd position to be in. And so there have been times where I felt like out of place, and I'm trying so hard to force myself into one box or the other. And I feel like now I'm finally a little more at peace with just kind of playing both sides, and that is kind of the wrong phrase to use, but kind of being in the middle where maybe I can be a connection for someone to either realize like church staff is not some holy, special, secret, hidden room where you can't access these people on a real level, or, you know, being that connection in the church staff where like, hey, I've got connections with people in the congregation because I have friendships that maybe don't feel like they're able to be in with the staff. So all that to say, just being at peace with the stage of life and the position that you're put in. Sometimes it feels like you're hidden away or you're prevented. Like, God, why are you like hiding me from these friendships that I want? And why are you like separating me? And why do I feel like I can break in here or break in there? And so just finding a way to access friendships and relationships differently, where I've been more reaching out to people one-on-one instead of feeling like, oh, maybe you know, a small group is the only way that I like make my big group of friends. Like, no, I have had small groups, and then this person was a really good connection to me, and we have that lasting friendship now where we're still reaching out to each other. I have a friend that I just played tennis with last week, and I met her through small group, and you know, we don't have the same small group now that we attend, but that friendship is what came out of it, and that matters to me. So anyway, all that to say, just navigating friendships differently than I thought it would look. Like, I'm not quite on staff, so that looks a little different, and I'm not quite a congregant, so I just navigating that weird in between where I feel like sometimes I'm in these rooms with the church staff and I have really good friendships from there and also from the congregation. it's an odd place to be in sometimes. I don't know how to wrap that up, but just sometimes you're put in a position that feels separate and alone. But I think sometimes God is positioning you to be a point person.
You're a bridge.
To connect.
Yeah,
to connect with people in a different way.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me like, what's it like being the first lady? What's it like being the pastor's wife? I'm like, it's like being me. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's not
wife.
just because I have this title doesn't make me now like, oh, now I'm this like holy, revered first lady. Like, no, I'm still me. I still struggle with this and that, and I'm still very human in these ways. And
well, you know, though, that is like a huge credit to like who you are and like being humble, really, because that's not the case everywhere. Right. And so like that is whatever personal relationship you have with Jesus, bringing that into this space. But absolutely, there are people who like it does make them feel a way, and they are like, and like that's one of the things I really appreciated about this church, like in particular. I remember walking in and I had no idea that Tina was Mike's wife. Like I literally didn't understand until I'm in the office meeting with her because she wanted to meet for coffee or whatever, and like Mike walks in and I'm like, what is going on here? And like had no idea, right? And I love that about her heart, because you will see Tina opening doors, passing the offering table,
seating people,
running a group. But like you see her all over the place. Never did I feel on her like, oh, I'm too good or I'm too above serving people. And I love that. And I think you're kind of saying something very similar of like, I am me. And like that's a credit to your relationship with Jesus and like who you are.
I think, I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that just because I'm the pastor's wife doesn't automatically make me an in any better. Like friendships or my relationship with Jesus is so much better because I'm the pastor's wife. Now I have this holy, like holier than thou position. It's not that. And maybe that is the position that other people need to see, is that like church staff is not some special, hidden holier than thou kind of position, and you shouldn't revere them in that way, like, oh, they're so much better than me, they're not approachable. Or the pastor's wife, she must have everything together. No. So just, I love being able to be that person where they ask me like, what's it like being a pastor's wife? I'm like, not any different than it was before, in the sense that I'm still growing. I still had to go to a small group to meet people. I still had to do this and that. I was like you, and the staff is like you too. They have to go out and they have to make an effort to meet people and make those relationships, because just because you have a title doesn't mean you don't need those relationships. You still very much do. So
I think that goes back to what he was saying about how people, or maybe you were saying, I don't know, how people like want it, like you're the one that they have to go to, because it's like, that's the person that I see. And you're kind of like tying all of the staff in, because that can be kind of how it feels like. It's just like, oh, well, that
like,
person.
she sings on stage, so she must have it all together.
They know how to, they're going to be, that's my answer. And it's like, no, we're just regular people. And, we got to go to small groups to meet people and find friends. For me, I was a seat warmer for about 3 years, and I would leave during announcements.
And so this is, you are the reason.
Yes.
Yes. The reason.
She started the trend.
Look, I would come in 20 minutes late, and for my own purposes and reasons. But I would come in late and I would leave during announcements. Because I wasn't in, not because I wasn't like in relationships, because I was not personally in, right? I did not make the choice to submit to this church being my covering. I was not ready for that yet. I was here to listen and receive the word and come back 6 days later and do it again. And that was it. But it really did take me doing exactly what you said, is like, well, I want to feel like this is my church. I want to feel like I have friendships, because 90% of friendships are based on proximity. Like at least the way that they start is based on proximity. If you look at kids in school, like you were saying, like the 30 kid group that you had. It's because you had the proximity to one another at youth group. So you were able to make the friendships, and you had a regular every week investment with these kids, which turned into, hey, we can be available on Thursday. Hey, we can be available on Saturday. Hey, let's keep doing this. So that was based on the proximity that you had. And then as our kids are in sports, well, it's like, well, I'm sitting here during the sports practice and you're sitting here during the sports practice. What's your name? What do you do? Which one is your kid? Let's cheer them on together. So it's based on proximity. So if you don't allow yourself to be within proximity because you're in the car, in the parking lot trying to beat traffic, then you're not in proximity to the people that can be in your circle, because you're trying to rush what God has for you instead of letting it happen organically. So for me, it took slowing down and saying, just like you said, I got to clear out my Sunday afternoon and I have to make time. So it's like, okay, I do have to still go to the grocery store. I still have kids. I still have to feed them. I still have to prepare for the week. I got to wash. I still have to do all those things. But can I carve out an extra 30 minutes? Because yes, even though I lead parking, it does take a few minutes to get out. But you're going to have to sit in the parking lot. So if I'm going to have to sit in the parking lot anyway, or I could be in the hallway meeting people and building connections, then let me do that. So let's do even just the littlest thing.
Well, it takes us moving from that consumer mindset, right? And I think we talk about the gospel like being upside down culture, like and like it really is if we think about it, right? Because as long as I'm approaching my walk with Jesus the same way that I'm approaching everything else in society, we're going to get like crazy results, right? And so this is consumer. I'm going to church to get what I need. I don't need anything else. And what I think I need, not even what God is telling me I need, but what I think I need is just the message. Right. The only place God is going to meet me on a Sunday is through the sermon. So why should I be there for worship? I don't get worship. I don't like worship. Nothing happens when I get to worship. Or the announcements. I'm not really part of this community, so I don't need to know what's going on.
I'm not going to go to stuff, no way.
Or I'm not going to show up a few minutes early so I can connect with somebody in the lobby because I don't need more friends, right? And like, to me, all of that is consumer mindset. I'm going to church as a consumer, which fair, God will meet us there, right?
It took some time, but he did.
It takes time, right? And so I don't want to count people out. This is not me being like, oh, then don't come to church. That's not what I'm saying. But it is like, hey, I want you to be aware of where you are and then ask God, is there room for me to grow? Yeah. Could I be seeing something a little bit differently if I just like stayed?
Yeah, I feel like that's the point that I got to, is that I was in that season that I was in, I needed to consume. I needed to be poured into, and this is what I need, and that's where I'm at. So it is okay if that is the season. It is a season. It is not forever. If that's the season that you're in, you've got church hurt, you've got, family stuff, you've got whatever.
Crisis mode,
crisis mode. You can be in consumer mode. That's okay. But you cannot stay there. And that's the thing. You've got to be able to make that transition. And for me, it was starting to serve. I went to, it was not called Starting Point at the time, but I went to Starting Point, and that Lolita, I love you. I love you. That Lolita, she got me. And she was like, you can serve on the kids team. At the time, I was running my own licensed in-home daycare. I was like, I'm around kids 5 days a week for 12 hours a day, plus my own kids. I don't want to serve in your kids' ministry. Absolutely not. And so she was like, no, you can be on the welcome team, because like you're like outgoing and you're bubbly. So you can, all you have to do is, if you know how to use a computer, like it's just an iPad and you sign people. I'm like, okay, I can do that. So I was able to join a team doing something that came naturally. I had to get there a few minutes early, but I was able to come in and I was able to serve. And the people that I would serve with, we would chat in the hallway. So it kind of was like, oh, your name's Ashli too. Okay. And it just kind of started. And then groups came around. I was like, oh, well, let me just look and see what they have for groups. And there was a parent group. So I was like, well, let me join. And I was able to meet, hey, Kelly, shout out. I was able to meet a few people so that when I came in on a Sunday morning, we asked each other, what service do you go to? Okay, I go to the 9, you go to the 10:30. So I'm going to stay a little bit after so that I can say hi to you when you're coming in. So you got to come in a few minutes. So I was able to build relationships because I took the time and I slowed down, because it was safe for me in the season that I was in. But once I felt the pull of like, you need to go deeper, you have to listen to Holy Spirit in those moments. Just like the people that are coming to you and saying, I don't have friends, I want friends, I need community. That is their time to say yes to Holy Spirit, not Theo, can you set me up with a friend? Like, I need you to make a friend. I need you to be my best friend now. That's what God has told me. That's not what God told you, that Theo needs to be your best friend. That's not it. You need to do what the church has already provided as a means to gather people together, and you get the proximity, and then you get the opportunity. If you do it and you submit to it, then you have the opportunity to go deeper with people, and hopefully in these being Christ-filled relationships, then you're going to go deeper not only with one another, but you're going to get a hunger to go after God more.
Yeah, it's so good because I mean, this is the church, right? This is like the actual church. And again, we kind of like lost it a little bit, I think, in some spaces of like the church is the building. We've talked about this, the church is this and blah, blah. And like
at the church. Wait,
church.
What do you mean at the church?
Yeah.
This is the church.
This is the church.
Right. We are the church.
Yeah. And I remember having, I can't remember who it was. Or maybe it was just an email that I got, maybe because I get some emails sometimes. And the person was like really upset and offended, right? That there was a couple that was coming to church that sat behind her on Sundays. And she was like, you know, they come in and out, and then they were gone for 3 weeks, and nobody even noticed that they were gone for 3 weeks. And like, you guys are not being and no one knows, no one's taking care of this couple, and they're coming in, and people should be blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, you know.
Yeah.
You're the church.
Yeah.
So someone in church knew that they were gone for 3 weeks. Did you exchange their, well, that's not my job. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because God talked to you about them. You have a soft spot for them for whatever reason. So it doesn't need to be, particularly if that couple, and people come and go here all the time. Like we don't know unless you're choosing to plug in, dive into stuff. We're not going to know every person that walks through the door.
Yeah.
But you have noticed that they've sat behind you every week.
Yeah.
So turn around and have a conversation.
See, something that I find really interesting, and this is, let me just say, this is just off the dome, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. But the whole consumer mindset is nothing new in the church, right? If you look at Old Testament church in the synagogue, the Jewish temple, right? There were the Levites who were in charge of everything at the church. And, you know, per God's instructions, they had to be born from that line, the Levites, right? The Levite tribe. And so that being said, the only responsibility of the congregants of the Jewish people was just bring your offering, right? Which is the sacrifice and whatnot. And then you come and the priest prays for your forgiveness. The priest does all this stuff, right? And then you get to the gospel and Jesus is like, this ain't it. Like, y'all are the church. Like, go. He sends them out, go out, make disciples, all this. And we have to date people who still struggle with that concept of we are the church, right? In fact, I got a little fired up a few weeks ago. I think, were we starting James, or I don't remember where we were. I don't even remember what text I was preaching. I just got on this rant of people that'll say the church should this, or the church would be better if we this. And then I just stopped and I was like, you're the church. Exactly what you guys were just saying. Like, you are the church. So that couple that you're so worried about, don't think that just because I bring my sacrifice, my offering, my $20, my $50 or whatever, I pay the pastor to do this. No, that's your offering to God. That's your worship, right? It has nothing to do with the pastor. That's your offering. That's your worship. But you are the church. So you are to take care of these people, and you are to build these relationships. You are to mine these friendships. Like, all of this goes into you being a part of this church. And it just blows my mind, gets me a lot upset when people miss their role in the church.
And it's such a missed opportunity. Like, God wants to move through you.
Yeah.
Answer.
Yeah. All right, so as we close up this conversation, I would like to know if you had 20 seconds to talk to somebody about either building a friendship or maintaining a friendship. What would your best advice be? If there's a book that you've read that changed the way you viewed relationships. I already mentioned the 5 Love Languages. I think everybody should read that book, whether you're married, whether you're not, whatever. If you want to be a good boss or manager of your people, read that book. It's just all around good knowledge. So 5 Love Languages, something I would tell someone for building friendships. I'm just going to echo what we've already said. Put yourself around people. You can't expect to have people if you separate yourself from people. This is coming from the introvert, right? But you got to put yourself around people. Sylvana.
So I'm going to shout out my cousin, Deborah Faleda. She is a licensed psychologist, and she's written several books. One of her books that she wrote, I think a few years ago now, is called Soul Care. And I don't know how many little chapters it is, but they're little bite-sized 2 to 3 page chapters. And it's all about how you can't pour from an empty cup and you can't pour from a broken cup. So it's all about soul care. It's about healing yourself. And I think for me, being open to relationships when I was like really in a season of like crying to Theo and crying to God, like, why don't I have friends? I feel like I tried. Maybe I didn't try. Maybe I didn't put myself in community enough. Maybe I'm not doing the healing that I need to do to be available and ready and even like open to the good relationships that are out there. So that's a book that I would recommend if you feel like you're in a season of loneliness and brokenness and wondering, maybe God is separating you and hiding you so that you can heal and then you can be ready for those enriching friendships. So Soul Care, Deborah Fileta.
That's good. Ash?
My recommendation would be to be vulnerable. If
Is
you're
it-
looking for relationships, like Theo said,
Is this to build or to maintain or both?
this is both.
Okay.
This is both. Just like you said, you need to put yourself out there. So that's the proximity part. And then you have to be vulnerable. You have to break those walls down, which means you have to do the soul care to heal from the things that hurt you so that you have the ability to let people in to see who you are, because the more vulnerable you are, the more you allow the relationship to go both ways. So I think if you're in proximity and you've taken the time to heal and you're pouring out and pouring in, you have the ability to go deep.
That's good. That's good.
I'm going to give you a book and a thought. So,
Okay.
book, Emotionally Healthy Spirituality.
Okay.
He has a whole bunch. Like there's what
Remember who it's by?
the Peter Scazzaro,
Okay.
something like that. Really good, just overall, because I do think part of friendships is also being aware, and I think that is a huge piece of this whole puzzle for me. So. Yeah, that's the book, Emotionally Healthy Spirituality, Peter Scazzaro. And if it's not that, it's Peter S. Something in there. And then secondly is, I think I might have mentioned this as a thread, but I really think that we need to reevaluate making feelings the measure of whether or not we're meant to stay, maintain, start, keep a friendship. Feelings are a thermometer, a gauge to where we start, but we need to submit even that to the Holy Spirit. And really let him guide us in what we should be doing. And I think we'll get more fruit in our life if we do that, as opposed to being like, I feel like I'm just not in a season of XYZ.
That's good.
Awesome.
That's good. I want to thank y'all for coming on. Ashli, as always, a
Thanks,
pleasure.
girl.
Sil, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Loved having you on.
Yeah.
And as always, Max, couldn't do this
Happy
without
New Year.
you. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in again with us between Sundays, diving into these conversations. I say this all the time and I mean it. We start these conversations and we really want you all to continue them. So find your friend groups, build the friend groups, maintain the friend groups, have these kind of conversations. Find your leaders, your pastors, your teachers, and bring these topics to them and just start the conversations. Hey, Max, where can people find us if they want to listen to us on different...
Between Sundays podcast. Right now we have our YouTube, we have Spotify, Apple, you can email us, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, like all of
We
the
just started
things.
a Threads account.
Oh, Threads. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just everywhere right now. We're trying to like infiltrate all of your spaces.
Yeah. And we just crossed over 100 on Instagram a few weeks
20
ago.
on Instagram, yeah.
So help us get to 200, 300. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all the good stuff. We just got to, a few weeks ago, we got to 100 on YouTube, was it? Subscribers. So help us get to 200 there, right? We are trying to just get these conversations out there. Let me assure you all, it's not about clout. It's not about going viral. We just really believe these conversations need to be had. So help get these conversations out there. And again, sorry, Max told us.
She.
I almost said she, and that felt
Good.
so
She.
bad.
I mean, I am a she. I like my pronouns.
The lady.
Her, the lady, the woman. She told y'all you can email us at betweensundays@newlife.live. We'd love to hear any topics that you'd like us to possibly cover sometime in the future. So until next time, we love y'all. We'll see you between Sundays.
living